Cool. Hey, Levonte, great to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Before we deep down into where you're right now, let's go back. Where did your football journey started? At which age did you start playing and where?
I played basketball first, my first couple years growing up, and my mom forced me to go to a French immersion school to learn French, and no one played basketball at this school, so I was forced to play football, and I ended up enjoying it and trying out for a team at that age, and made the team and kind of moved up from there.
Okay, where did you play basketball? Where was it?
I don't remember. I was like probably like 3 to 8. I was playing basketball. When I started playing soccer, I stopped or football.
Okay. And your early stages for football, where was this?
I played at a academy in Toronto, Scarborough more specifically, called Masters Football Academy. And then when I graduated high school, I went to England to play for 2 years, and I played non-league in England. And then I moved back to the States to go to college, and I went to four different colleges before I got drafted.
Okay, interesting. Before we go to the college and like the adversity with four different colleges, how was it for you to playing in England and what was the difference? Like, because there's a culture difference also, how did you learn to adapt to the different cultures and the play?
I loved England, like just that the culture there is football and all football, and how it's just a close, if the community just feels close there. You take the train everywhere. The transit's like lovely. I could go from Derby to London in like an hour or two. So it was nice living there. And the football wise of thing, like football side of things was very different. It was especially in the non-leagues, especially it was a lot more physical, and it wasn't much quote unquote football being played. Like the pep side of football was more what's more efficient to win this game with the players we have. And a lot of the coaches there felt like that was just hitting it long and winning second balls and a scrappy game.
Mm. Is there anything else like during this 2 years time where you say, okay, I learned a lot of things there, what I could apply when I back moved to the US?
Yeah, just a lot of the mindset I learned. And I feel like in Canada, a lot of people a lot of the time say there's not a lot of opportunity to become pro because of, I guess, where we are, and football isn't prioritized there as this one of the main sports. And when I was in England, I met a lot of people, a lot of players that went through the academy, came through West Ham Academy, this academy, and didn't make it. And it took a big hit on their mentals, and they kind of were a shell of their former self, and they weren't playing the same football they used to. And yeah, that was a kind of a big realization for me. How many players
Mm,
in not just England specifically, but in Europe in general that don't make it because it's such a popular sport there.
interesting. What would you say, like, which kind of ability or like how important was self-belief in this time when you see so many players, they
Mhm.
try to make it pro, but they could not. And how important was it for you to have like the self-belief and say, like, all right, it will be different for me?
Um, I think in my head, especially coming from Canada, that I placed Europe and like the European academies just so far above, and I think I overestimated how good they were in Europe. I'm not saying that they're not really like a lot better, but I'm just saying in my head I placed them so much, and when I went to Europe and I seen um England specifically, when I seen the players playing, and I realized I wasn't far off at all, and kind of that self-belief that if I just keep on my path and keep grinding, then I'll be able to make it there.
Mm, okay. You mentioned right now like that if you keep grinding, like how would you describe like discipline as a big factor in your career to grinding, not like for a week, not for a month, that like consistency and over time? How important is this to getting a pro?
It's very important. Like discipline, the habits you develop from when you're younger in your teenage years follow you into the pro life. And if you have bad habits, they will follow you, and you can either break those habits and have a long, successful career, or not break the habits and struggle to have a longer career. I developed that discipline when I was maybe 13, 14 with my dad, helped me a lot, especially with the mental side of things. He kind of emphasized how important it was to tap into the mental side of your game. And I remember when I was 13 specifically, I was training 7 days a week,
Mm.
and there was one training at like 7 a.m., but it was an hour away already, so I'd wake up at 5:30. My dad as well on Saturday, Sunday mornings to take me all the way there and train, and kind of his discipline and hard work kind of rubbed off on me to, you know, gave me a lot of motivation and self-belief that if he believes this much in me, I should as well.
Wow. Like with 13, like if you look nowadays, people with 13, they're playing PC, PlayStation, and all this stuff, and having this dream in the mind. What would you say? Like, was it something your dad pushed you over years, or was it also inside yourself where you say, like, okay, I can do it. I love the sports. How important was like also the love for the sport?
Very important. I feel like I didn't burn out and I haven't lost any passion for the sport because for like my dad didn't play football at all. Like he didn't play organized sports. Really, no one in my family did, and it was kind of a basketball family, so there wasn't much, I guess, guidance for soccer from people above me in terms of my immediate family. So I still played the video games and on the PC when I was younger, but I did when it was time to work, I definitely did my work, and when it was time to enjoy and have fun, I definitely enjoyed myself. But my dad didn't really push me to play football at all. It was kind of they were pushing me in terms of basketball and just supporting me in whatever I wanted to do. And then I told them I want to play soccer. They asked me if I'm sure. I said, yeah. We switched over to football, and yeah, it's been good from
Nice.
there.
Nice. It means also like you would say like having the ability to understand, okay, right now I have to grind, I have to work, and now is the time I can enjoy myself a bit because the work is done. Like it's rare to understand this so early in this year. What kind of advice you could give to the younger generation? They're, let's say, also 13, 14, 15, and it's crucial to for them to do like maybe the work. Can you
Mhm.
give them some advices to get through the hard time?
I feel like they should always remember that when you put in the hard work, it always pays off, and you will get your opportunity to show your skills, whatever you need to do. And in my example, I remember there was a specific day that I couldn't make it to training that day, and that's the day a Roma scout came to training, and one of the players on our academy did really good, and Roma actually brought him in, and he got to go to Real Madrid in the academy as well when he was like 15, 16. So I was like, wow, I missed out on such a big opportunity, like all this hard work I've been doing. But it's kind of my dad as well. He told me that, these opportunities come and go, and just always make sure you're prepared for when the opportunity comes. And my opportunity did come when I was 19. I made it pro really late. When I was 19, my opportunity came when I came back from England, and I took the most of it. And it was a combine game for college. Took the most of it, did really well, and got my a scholarship from there, and kind of moved from there. But my advice to the younger generation is definitely to stay disciplined and keep keep going with the hard work, and it will definitely pay off. The hard work always pays off.
Mm, that's powerful, man. If you go to, let's say you were 19 and you got like this opportunity, how was the feeling inside you, like after so long time putting the work in and then getting like the opportunity now?
Um, it was nice. I got the opportunity through my friends, just connections I made, and asked them if I can come to the combine because I was looking to go to college. And I was just doing my meditation before the game, which was something my dad taught me from very young. I would kind of meditate before the games. I think as early as like 13, 14, I remember meditating and like watching videos and visualizing what I want to do in the games. So I did that and I kind of just had the self-belief that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do really well and I need to be the best player at this combine to get where I want to go.
Mm. That's amazing to hear that like you were so early into meditating and visualizing with this young age. How did your dad come like with this kind of mindset? Because like if you look back, it's like it's crazy.
Yeah, I actually don't know because kind of mental side of things, even mental health back in when he was younger and growing up wasn't a big thing and growing up. So I never asked him, but he's always just emphasized that the mental side and mental aspect of not even sports, but everything in general in life is very important. And I've just took that with me through my years growing up.
Yeah, wow. Like aside from your dad, like you told your dad was like a big role model and played a big role in your life. Did you have other role models? They give you energy, they give you belief.
I wouldn't say exactly role models, but I had players that I really enjoyed watching and would try to find anything I could on their life and what they do on their day to day to try to emulate that and imitate that and try to put it and implement that into my lifestyle to hopefully make that much of a difference.
Can you give us some player you try to get like some advice from them?
Hunmin's son. He was one of my like favorite players watching growing up, especially. I still enjoy watching him now. But like even the his stories with his dad were crazy and how much keep ups he would do in the training he did to get where he is now. And it's kind of a different path. But I took my his I feel like his his situation, his dad was more harsh with the training and more demanding than mine was. Mine was kind of my own. I had to do this for myself and in that type of way.
Mm. Yeah, it's amazing that like I think this year he won his first title.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
that's amazing. Like I was reading how his dad treated him, and now after so many years playing on the highest level, he won his first title.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And which kind of like, let's say, regarding your grindness, from which player you had like the advices you say like, okay, his grind, I want to have it.
Um, I don't I really don't remember. No one really pops out in my head. It was just kind of my own competitions and belief system that I made up in my head. Like I would play against my friends and in a league, and those were my most competitive games and games where I tried to play my best. And I feel like I always grinded to be better than my friends and to be better than the people in my group and try to um have that confidence to say I'm the best. And if I want to be the best, like if I'm training this hard, they're probably training as well. So I have to do double, I have to do this, I have to do that. And I have to do the
Mm,
kind of extra work to stay on top or to get to the top.
okay. Yeah, nice. What would you say like regarding, because you mentioned before that like at 13, 14, your dad introduced to you mental strength, visualization, meditation. At which time, like where the competitive era of football was growing higher and you understood, okay, that's really mental. And when was it for you? Which moment?
Um, I I feel like I'm just a extremely competitive person in general, in terms of even in video games. Like I will always try to be the best out of my friend group in any video game I play that we all play. I try to be the best. I watch this video, that video, grind more in video games, this and that. But in terms of football, I from as young as I can remember, honestly, because a big part of my childhood was playing football with my friends at recess, and it was extremely competitive. Like it was almost more competitive than my league games at times. and fights would happen all the time, and we'd come in from outside to class, and we're sweating and panting, and we're lined up at the water fountain. It was crazy, but I enjoyed that, and it was I feel like my competitive drive started from there.
Okay. How would you say, how do you handle pressure and also mistake when the competitive is so high? There's also a
Mhm.
lot of pressure. How do you handle with these kind of high pressure situation?
I kind of just stick to my routine that I have before games and kind of get my mind and body right to know that, okay, a game's coming up. And I guess not to place too much emphasis that this game is way more important than another game. But I remember specifically when I played in my first final and I was a part of the second team, the reserve team for Vancouver. And um I didn't really feel any pressure. And I remember that specific game because I was like, I just have to go. They're probably not expecting much because I'm a second team player and I was starting that game as well because they needed a certain amount of Canadians to start. So I was starting that game and I felt like I played really good that game. I was only supposed to play 45 minutes and then play with the second team the next day, but I stayed and I played 70 minutes before I got subbed off. So I guess I was doing well. And that was, I guess, my one of my first big pressure games. But a big thing for me to remember is to just enjoy and have fun in the game, and that's when I'm playing my best.
Mm. That's good. It's also like very good advice for younger generation because they forget almost to having fun and like enjoy why they started in the first beginning. And if this part is there, you can't enter the flow state. And
Hmm.
what you described right now is like, okay, I was just there, I enjoyed and I performed well. And that's like a bit interesting because the more you focus on I have to perform, the less your performance. The less you
Yeah,
focus on, okay, I don't have to perform, I want to just have fun, mostly you are playing amazing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's also like for younger players also very important to emphasize the importance of having fun and the love for the sports.
yeah, for sure. I feel like once they lose that side of the game and losing the fun aspect is when things might start to go downhill a lot of the times.
Mm. You mentioned right now, like for you, it's important to having your routines before the game. Uh, when you start, which kind of routines you have for yourself, or you can also give other players as advice that it helps for you.
On my game day, I almost always meditate before the game. Kind of in the locker room for 10 minutes, I'll just go meditate, do my breathing, and it kind of calms me down and puts me in a relaxed state that I guess I enjoy playing in those states when I go to play my football because it's a calm mind. I'm more composed when I'm doing things in the game, and I feel like it helps me a lot of the times, and I do recommend doing that if you're a younger player.
Mm. What would you say, like, can you go with us through your meditation? Like, do you focus on your breath or do you visualize something? How does your meditation look like for a game, before a game?
I meditate twice. I meditate as soon as I wake up to kind of set the mood for the day. And I go on YouTube, just find up a 10-minute relaxing meditation and it's kind of I follow the instructions and I by now I know there's like a certain feeling and how my body feels. I'm like, okay, I'm rested in this state and
Mm,
I meditate until I get to that state and then from there I'm good.
okay, interesting. Like for others, just go to YouTube, check something out, and try out and find what's working best for you.
Yeah, what works for them exactly.
Okay. Like the last couple months, we worked together also on the mental side. What would you say was for you the biggest takeaway after our mental training?
I think um one thing that helped for sure was visualizing what I want to do in training, what I want to do in the game, and then setting up a plan in training on how I'm going to do this in the game. For example, if I want to score a goal in the game, I'm gonna cut in from this side and shoot. In the trainings, I'm gonna work on one day beating a guy 1v1 down the line, another day cutting in and shooting, another day, I guess, receiving a long ball on the switch, however you visualize scoring that goal. And that's one thing that really helped me. I haven't been able to execute it much because I've been injured, but um, I definitely will when I'm back playing.
Mm. What would you say regarding, like, let's say players, they are already pro and they are considering having mental training, but there's nothing wrong with them. Would
Mhm.
you give them advice to do the mental training to get better in certain things? What is your take on this?
Yeah, I think everyone should do mental training. Mental aspects are a big part of the game that I feel like not a lot of people are acknowledge and take action on. So I feel like if you do that mental training, then you have that one step ahead of the players that aren't doing mental training, and you have a different mindset to different players. And yeah, I feel like there's a lot of benefits and positives in doing mental training.
Hmm. What do you think? Why is the stigma so high in especially football regarding mental training? Because like there's so many players, they don't even know what is mental training. And like what is your take on this?
I'm not exactly sure, but my 2 cents is that mental anything involving men is just there's a stigma around it, and it's not you have to be very vulnerable, and then like in society it's not really beneficial for men to be vulnerable and talk about mental health and this and that, but it is an important part of football and just life in general on the mental side of things. So I do feel like if you have the opportunities, you should take advantage of it and take part of it.
Mm. What would you say like during your pro seasons, like the last season, this season, how good is the mental support in your teams or previous teams?
I've only been on 2 professional teams, and both locker rooms have been really good, especially my first year's pro. I had a really good locker room. It was really close. Um, didn't have the best season in the locker room. The vibes, the guys, the energy was great. So that definitely helped throughout the beginning of my career, especially because I remember talking to guys in that same locker room that said at the beginning of their pro careers, their locker room wasn't as supportive, and it was very toxic environment. If you make a
Mm,
mistake, guys were yelling at you. There was obviously the guys on a lot of money that would talk bad on the other players that, kind of the younger players just trying to make it into the team, make it into the squad. So when I grew up and when I not grew up, but when I was playing my first professional years, my locker room was definitely very supportive and definitely taught me some things.
mm. How was it for you, like playing in the MLS in Canada? How was this experience for you, like as a player on the mental side? Could you give us some quick insights during this time?
It was very different from what I was used to because even growing up, I didn't play at a traditional like MLS academy or this academy. I played kind of in the other leagues that weren't as recognized, but kind of that transition from that to the professional side of things was a big transition for me, especially I remember my first couple drills, I wasn't the best technically, and I worked on that to get better on that, but um just that transition from college and kind of the leagues I was playing in to pro was very different. And then in terms of everything else, it was nice to see how serious it was taken. And they have a staff for this, they have a staff for that. They have everything you need to succeed, they have at the club, which is very nice, including mental training, which I talked to as well.
Mm, okay, that's good. And what would you say, like right now, you mentioned before you have an injury, it was longer than expected. How is your approach during like the injury time? Because a lot of players they experience the same. And how would you say which kind of challenges you had in this time, and how would you approach these kind of situations?
Um, I still have the injury now, so I'm not quite all the way back yet. But one challenging part that I'm experiencing right now is that I feel like I should be back and I should be playing, but my body's not 100% yet. And it's kind of finding that balance. Like, do I push through this pain? Do it like, will I make it worse? Do I not? But other than that, at the beginning of the injury, I kind of looked at it as somewhat of a positive, tried to find a positive in the negatives, and kind of took a step away from um, a player perspective and more of a spectator perspective. And how can I watch and analyze what's going on to help the team and help our situation?
Like viewing the game from a different perspective and also getting better.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice, nice. Now, Levonte, I want to do with you like a quick fire round, right? I ask you a
Okay.
question and you answer very fast. All right?
All right. Mhm.
Favorite pre-game meal?
Egg and bread with avocado.
Best teammate you have ever played?
Played with?
Yeah.
Um, Ryan Gold.
One word that describes your playing style.
Athletic.
Favorite city you have played in?
Um, I'd say LA. LA is the first thing that came to my mind.
Who inspires you?
My dad.
What's your one skill you already always had? Your favorite skill?
Um, like a quick body feint, a shift one way, and just foot race.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, my man.